Welcome to the listeners of TALRadio English. This is Akshay, your host. Our guest today is Dr. Balu Natarajan, Chief Medical Officer of Seasons Hospice and President of North South Foundation. Dr. Natarajan has been the Chief Medical Officer of Accent Care Seasons Hospice since 2005. He served in various capacities for Seasons from 2000 until 2005, including holding the position of Medical Director of Illinois Program. Dr. Natarajan, certified by the American Board of Internal Medicine in Hospice and Palliative Medicine, and also by the Hospice Medical Director Certification Board. He has authored books, chapters, and articles in peer-reviewed journals. Dr. Natarajan is a NHPCO board member, former member and vice chair of Public Policy Committee, and chair of Palliative Care Council. Dr. Natarajan is also a faculty member for the online Master of Science and Graduate Certificate in Palliative Care at the University of Maryland. He was also the first Indian ever to win the Scripps National Spelling Bee in 1985. Dr. Natarajan loves helping people and has been supporting North South since he was in a medical school when he served as a pronouncer of the first national North South Spelling Bee back in 1993. More recently, he served on the advisory board before joining the North South board in 2017. Welcome to our show, Dr. Natarajan. We are pleased to have you with us.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Can you tell us about your journey with the North South and how you became involved with the organization?
So it really is a 30-year journey. The foundation has been around since 1989 and has been holding competitions since 1993. So back then, when I was in medical school, I was approached by the founder, Dr. Ratnam Chituri, and he and Dr. Murali Gavini had started some competitions, and they asked me to help conduct some of the regional spelling competitions and also help with pronouncing and conducting the first national spelling bee that North-South had in 1993. So fast forward many years, I would occasionally be asked to help with some local competitions here in Chicago. And then in 2015, I went to be chief guest. I was asked to be chief guest at the national finals in Columbus, Ohio. And then soon thereafter, I became on the advisory board, and then I was on the board. And then in 2020, I took on the role of president, which eventually became CEO of the North-South Foundation. I'm also a North-South parent. My kids have been participating in coaching or contests or volunteering since 2015. So we have been all in as a family now, really for many years.
That's wonderful to have the family along, the big backing, right? I mean, it gives a lot of motivation to have them around you with the same goal and trying to achieve. So as we talk about the goals, what are the main goals and vision for the organization?
So if you look at our original logo, it always said excellence in education. But the way back original thought behind this foundation was educational access, that no child should ever go lacking education because of a lack of access. So the real why behind the foundation was always educational access. And educational access could be access to baseline education and access to gifted education. And so that's really what this foundation has done, was help people to achieve their potential, whatever that is, either by giving them a start or by helping them to reach the top. Most recently, we put together a 10-year strategic plan that was in 2020, and we've now spelled out some specific things that we want the organization to do. And as we looked at mission, vision, and values, really we realized that the intersection is not just education and excellence, but the intersection of education, excellence, and empathy. So we're really trying to develop not just smart kids, but smart kids who are social entrepreneurs, who want to make the world better.
That's a great initiative. And when it comes to the focus on the education and providing scholarships for the underserved, the kind of strategies or the initiatives that you have in mind to further enhance the impact of Foundation's education programs, can you give some insights into those?
So historically, the model was very simple. The activities here in the United States were brought to children here in the United States by volunteers. So volunteers who helped conduct contests, volunteers who helped with coaching subjects, and the subjects ranged from STEM to English language arts, and eventually included things like history and geography and essay writing, public speaking. So volunteers would bring their expertise and teach at a reasonable price, at an accessible price. And then the money was then utilized to help fund these scholarships. For years, we never had staff, we never had even contractors. Over time, we've had to get some support, but for the most part, because the leadership demonstrated an incredible frugality and efficiency, most of the money was sent for scholarships. And so all of that volunteer work and all of that energy turned over the years into 20,000 scholarships given to children in India who otherwise wouldn't have been able to afford an education.
Right. And with your extensive medical background, how do you plan to leverage your expertise to address these challenges, especially the healthcare related challenges faced for the underserved communities, or not just the healthcare, like challenges in general for the children?
I think that's one of the biggest reasons that we always wanted to have education as the focus, because even if someone has a health issue, education can help get them through it. Education can help get individuals gainfully employed, might help them to get health insurance, might help with health literacy, might help with connectivity. Connectivity can come in so many ways, right? Connections to other people, connections to the internet. All of those things, the baseline necessity is an education. And so we've done things over the years to get people college educations, but now in India, we've connected with schools like JNV schools and KV schools to bring some of our learning history to them. And we have started to do similar things here in the United States, where we have our young changemakers, our kids, have participated in activities that help to bring educational access to underserved here in the U.S. So we've not gotten into healthcare, but I do think that the educational access that we bring could certainly parlay into better access to health.
Right. And educational learning is a journey. And I do understand that there is a learning journey program at North South. How does that program structured? How can gets involved? The kids get the kids involved into that program.
So what we're trying to do with the learning journey, for some time, people would come and they might take a math contest, and then they're done, or they may come for geography coaching, and then they're done. And what we're trying to do is send a clear message that if a child comes and commits a year or 2 years or 3 years and does all of the educational offerings for a given subject year round, we may have assessments like contests, so quizzes and tests. We may have in-person workshops or prep clubs. We may have coaching classes. And so the goal is, if somebody's exposed to a subject longitudinally, then they appreciate not just an episode, but they appreciate learning and being curious about a given subject over time. And especially if they do that with a group of other kids, there's a positive energy that comes from that. Hopefully there's a curiosity that comes from that. Hopefully these people are learning together. These children are learning together, enjoying it and pushing each other. And so we have come to realize that true learning doesn't happen once, doesn't happen in 2 episodes. It comes truly as a journey. And what we've tried to do is build curricula, which we're just in the beginning stages of doing, that then not only focus on a given subject, but focus on other holistic subjects such as universal values or confidence building, because we have also come to realize that if somebody knows a lot about a subject, but can't articulate it, for example, or doesn't have the confidence to articulate it, then they won't be able to be all that they can be as an expert in the subject. So we're trying to, as I mentioned earlier, develop smart social entrepreneurs. And in order to do that, subject matter expertise alone is not sufficient. And that's a big part of why we have started to build this learning journey. We haven't gotten to all the subjects yet, but we're in progress of building the curriculum.
Yeah, and that also requires a lot of coaching. And let's say if we have somebody interested to be a part of your program, want to become a coach, how they can become a coach and how they can get associated with overall with the learning program.
Definitely. If they send an email to support@northsouth.org, support will get started and connect the individual to the right place so we can find exactly a spot for them. We're always looking for experts, and we're always looking for enthusiastic individuals who want to coach or might want to help in other ways. We, much like we've seen with Touch a Life Foundation, there are a lot of individuals who might have expertise in a subject such as IT or marketing, or may be connected to lots of people in the community. And so even if somebody isn't comfortable or doesn't want to teach a specific subject, they may have a lot of other gifts to bring that will help us to bring education either inside our community or to those outside the community who otherwise can't afford it.
Right. The organization has also seen a groundswell of enthusiasm from the 3rd generation of young change makers.
Mm-hmm.
How is the plan to engage and empower these younger generation kids to contribute to the foundation's mission?
So this is really where we get into social entrepreneurship. And what we've learned is in that generation. So we're talking about kids who might even be 9, 10 years old, and certainly those who are 16, 17, 18 years old. They don't want to just learn. They want to know, what are we doing for others? What are we doing for the planet? What are we doing for the community? And by community, if they're living here in the United States, they want to see that we're doing something here. So one of our shining examples was 3 years ago in the middle of the pandemic. There were, in 2020 and 2021, kids in the United States who couldn't go to school and do remote learning. In other words, they didn't have a device to log into school. And so there were houses that had 2, 3, 4 kids that were having to borrow a parent's cellular phone and share that cell phone just to do their schoolwork. Our kids got together. These are 10, 11, 12, 13-year-olds got together, raised money. The foundation matched those funds. And we were able to give away 1,000 Chromebooks to 5 different school districts here in the United States, a total of 1,000. And they were able to distribute these Chromebooks to children who otherwise wouldn't have been able to attend school remotely. And since then, every year we have a cohort of young change makers that have been doing something that has helped to make their local community better and help to bring access to something good for others in their community. And this is our goal. We want smart kids who really appreciate the notion of social entrepreneurship or the notion of the concept of seva.
Since you brought the point where kids had to go through the challenges of procuring certain equipments or, let's say, for example, systems to access and go for their online education. It also brings to the point that technology is so very important these days for everybody to kind of grow and be along with the fast-paced world. What role do you see technology playing in the future for North-South? Are there any specific technological advancements or innovation that you plan to implement?
So there are a bunch of exciting changes coming. We finally were able to launch an updated website earlier this month. We're really excited about that. North-South has an app. We are getting that more and more accessible for our volunteers as well as participants. And what our hope is that over time, as people start engaging with the app, we can start sending out problems of the week or word of the week. Still very excited folks here all over the United States playing Wordle through the New York Times. Anything like that allows us to stay connected through education and get people excited about learning and learning as a family and learning together. And so those are simple ways that technology can assist. Over time, we're going to learn how technology can assist with teaching itself. So where does artificial intelligence fit into the mix? Where do ChatGPT type functions fit in? We don't know that yet, but we are definitely actively studying where technology can enhance the way we teach. We are definitely looking at learning management systems and other things that can help us to connect the dots between our curriculum and our assessment approach. So how do we teach? How do we find out if a child learned? How do we then see where they stand compared to some sort of standard? And then what interventions can we make to help individuals to learn even more to get to the next level standard, such as the next grade?
With that, how are you planning to build on the foundations of previous achievements and take it to the next level and build a collaborative model for a continued growth in the organization?
So right now, the historical reputation of the organization is smart kids who went and did really well in national competitions. I think the natural next step is finding out or showcasing how those same kids did in life. We have a lot of children who went through our programs and didn't necessarily place number one on a national stage, but learned a lot and did really well. And now they are in prominent positions in various professions across the country, and they're doing good and they can give back. And so one of our biggest charges is to reconnect with alumni who are intelligent, who appreciate social entrepreneurship, and can serve as role models for the next generation of kids. So that's really where I think we can go to the next level, because we have 30 years of alumni that are largely untapped. And if we can start reconnecting with them so that they can help teach our kids how to make a difference in their local communities, teach them something they can learn, suddenly the number of people that we're serving and the number of countries in which we are serving can grow dramatically.
North-South has emphasized values on the 3 E's: empathy, excellence, and education. How do you plan to uphold and promote these values in your leadership role?
These are all the things we've talked about. So if we only had smart kids and then they go on to get into a good college and get great jobs, well, we're really only hitting 2 of the E's. What we're really trying to do is that intersection. And so things like young change makers, really important. Things like making very clear to all of our volunteers, all of our participants, what it is we're doing and why we're doing it. That becomes important. My hope is that we can start to showcase some real stories. In other words, if a chapter held an event and that event funded 5 scholarships, how do we then capture 5 kids who got scholarships on video and share it with the kids and families that came together to help fund those 5 scholars? The more they can see the incredible impact of what they're doing actually turns into, the more likely that people will become committed to Seva over a longer period of time. And that's really what we're trying to do. There's lots of smart people out there, but how many of those smart people are using that for good? That's what we're really trying to foster.
When it comes to communicating different programs, North-South conducts several workshops. Can you give us an insight into what kind of workshops are conducted and how frequently the charter?
So there are workshops that are conducted nationally. There are coaching activities that are conducted nationally. There are also local events depending on the chapter. And the frequency of those local in-person events is dependent on the local chapter, and it's dependent on the volunteers at the local chapter. That's the beauty of the foundation. All it takes is somebody with interest, subject matter expertise, and initiative, and they can build something locally. They can say, I had a young man I spoke with recently. He had learned a lot about history, and he was just interested as a high school student. So he started a history club at his high school. Well, he learned more about it. He asked a teacher for help. He did some more research. That eventually turned into the curriculum for our history coaching at North-South. He learned so much, did so much, contributed so much, got so excited about it, that he then got into an Ivy League school for college as a history major. And so he's actually now just completed his first year in college as a history major. But that started with that interest and with that initiative and with a curiosity that helped him gain the subject matter expertise that allowed him to teach some basics, but then become a lifelong learner in that subject.
Indeed, very, very, very apt statement out there, right? Each one of us is a lifelong learner. And with that, I'd like to understand, if somebody wants to get involved, right now, you gave a very good example of an individual who was not able to get into the Ivy school, and he got the motivation to get involved. There might be a lot of other people who are looking forward to get involved and might be having the same passion, vision, and mission to look forward, but they don't have a direction. How can they get involved with North-South?
So, as I mentioned, the website, if you have somebody local at a local chapter, you can start with them. But a lot of people don't. And so we just say, send us a note, right? Send that support@northsouth.org and say, this is what I'm good at. I'd like to contribute. This is what I'm interested in. I'd like to contribute. This is what I want to pursue. I need guidance, right? And our goal is to say, okay, we'll connect you with somebody, somewhere else in the country who can help, or we will connect you with somebody locally so that you can help. That's the amazing thing about the foundation over the years is we have built this incredible network that if we don't know the answer, we can usually help find someone who does. And if somebody is humble and willing to learn, then we will absolutely connect them with somebody who can help get them to the right place to learn methodically and learn over time.
What message would you like to give to the supporters, volunteers, beneficiaries of North-South?
I think the first thing is we have to dream big about what a social entrepreneur can do and what social entrepreneurs together can do. Just look at this foundation. We've been around for over 3 decades, 20,000 scholarships given away. I don't think anyone imagined that we could give that many thousands, impact that many lives over the years. We have specific examples. I have met them where we gave a child in India a scholarship in the 1990s or in the 2000s. And They now live here in the United States, or they moved to the US and then moved back. But while they were here in the United States, they volunteered for our foundation. They helped conduct activities. They helped to coach. They helped to teach. They helped to conduct contests. They held workshops. They hosted walkathons, whatever it is. They raised funds. Those funds went back so that the next generation of kids in India could go to college. The incredible impact of doing good for others. The impact is not just for others. The impact comes back to us. It's incredible how it comes back. Something good comes out of it. We learn something. Real seva is hard work. It builds character, and we connect to other people who also believe in the same. And the rewards and the returns are beyond measure. It's absolutely incredible.
Such a precious thought out there. I think it's so very wonderful to get talking to you and try and understand how North South has been spearheading this project of ensuring that every kid out there, every underserved kid out there gets the value of education. Thank you very much, Dr. Natarajan. It's been wonderful having a conversation with you. More importantly, the kind of a statement that you made just a while back in terms of the positive impact, how it can basically build characters and build values in individuals, and how by giving to the society, you can do the most that you could in one's lifetime. Thank you very much for bringing that out. And you yourself being that change maker, wonderful to have you with us.
So good to be here. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Dr. Natarajan. You take care.